Hello, everyone. I want to talk this week about perceptions. It's funny how these things work. I've had a lot of conversations with people, with clients this week, about times when they have chosen to eat off their either maintenance plan or off of their weight loss plan because of something that has happened in their life at that time that they have perceived to be a difficult thing or a negative thing. And often it is, but there are perceptions that the individual had made that they that were influencing and affecting what they actually then did. And it really got me thinking about how what are perceptions, what are they, and how do they impact us, and what can we do about it? I have a really good example to share with you of a time about 2 years ago for myself where I had some really bad back problems, and I'm allergic to a lot of painkillers. So I had to go on morphine. Is either morphine or Panadol. It's the only painkillers I can take basically. And my pain was so bad that for a little while I was on morphine and dosed up to the eyeballs. And this I managed to get myself a little bit better. And one of the things that I did to sort out my back was to go on a back care course with an absolutely brilliant local yoga teacher who specializes in back care, but does other yoga as well. But she's particularly trained to do back care. I went on a 12-week course with her, and part of that course was to commit to doing daily exercises. Now, yeah, I'm a mum with three children, and I've got my own business and a home to run, and a husband and friends and family. So the only time that I could make to do this yoga, which was about 40 minutes, it was about some minutes of stretching, and then the yoga moves, and then about 15-20 minutes of relaxation. And it worked brilliantly, actually, and still does. And the um, the only time I could get to do this was at 6 o'clock in the morning. I had to get up early and commit to going down early before the day kicked off, before the school runs, before my clients, etc., etc. And on one particular day, I had been doing this course for a little while, and always had all my yoga stuff all laid out in the lounge. So all I had to do was, as soon as the alarm went, I pootled downstairs and did what I had to do. And on one particular day, I was lying there, and I'd just reached the relaxation part of the tape, of the whole thing, where the tape was on. And the woman was talking about imagining stuff that made me nice and relaxed. And as I lay there, I had a lavender bag over my eyes to help me relax. And I was aware of my husband getting up, and I heard a stomp, 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 stomp as he came down the stairs, as he usually did. And then I heard a much angrier stomp, 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 going back up the stairs again. And stomp, 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 coming down the stairs, and a little bit of maybe swearing going on in the hallway, which is just outside of the lounge, and things being chucked around and thrown around. And then he came storming into the lounge, through the lounge door open, and said, "What have you done with my train pass?" Just like that. And I was lying there thinking, train pass, train pass. Have I done anything with his train pass? I wouldn't touch his train pass. I wouldn't touch your train pass, I said. And he said, "But you were always going around tidying things up. You must have tidied it away somewhere. I can't find it anywhere." And I lay there and I just said, "I haven't touched your train pass." And he then stood there, and I didn't move the lavender bag off my eyes. I just lay there, and I could hear him standing there just looking at me. My perception of the situation was that he was annoyed. There was a and then he turned around, slammed the door, rummaged around out in the hallway for a bit, and then I heard the front door slam, and off he went. And I lay there thinking, he really wanted me to get up and help him find that train pass. And then I thought, bloody cheek! Why did he come in here and disturb my yoga when he knows how important it is, and he knows how much pain I've been in, and he knows how I'm getting up at 6 o'clock to do it every morning, and yet he's just gone and disturbed it, and I'm going to have to start the relaxation bit all over again. And for God's sake, how can my own husband do that to me? And How can he devalue this yoga that I'm doing and devalue me so much? And if he actually is devaluing me in that way, then that must mean that he can't possibly love me. And if that's the case, what are we doing here? Why are we married? Oh my God, this must mean that we're going to end up having to get divorced. All my perceptions sort of spiraling as we tend to do in these situations. Why this is relevant to dieting and food and weight loss and weight maintenance is because of what I did next. The tape was blurring along beside me, the other side, wherever it was, and at that point she said, "And now you're feeling lovely and relaxed," and I thought, "You have got to be kidding me, woman! I am so not relaxed." And thanks to him, and I switched it off, got up, and it was one of my fast days, or one of my days when I reduced my calories a lot, which is on a Monday. And I got up, walked into the kitchen, got some gluten-free toast bread out of the toaster, bunged it in the out of the freezer, bunged it in the toaster, got some jam, got some butter, slathered it all on, and was just about to take a bite when, thank goodness, I was able to say to myself, "What are you doing? What are you doing? You've had," I think it must have been about 2.5 years at that point of maintaining my 7.5 stone loss. Why are you doing this? You're just reverting to old patterns of making yourself feel better and numbing everything down with the food. So what are you doing? Have you learnt nothing?" And the little voice inside my head went, "Yeah, but if I don't numb this down, I'm left with the feeling of my husband can't really love me and I'm going to end up getting divorced." Ah! And what I wanted to do was to numb that really, really strong emotion and strong feeling, strong thought down. But here's the thing. It wasn't based on fact. It wasn't based on any real truth. It was just my perception of what I had made of that situation. Thank goodness I was able to chuck the toast. I just put it straight into the recycling bin, and I picked up the phone and I rang my husband up, and I just said to him, "I'm feeling really sad right now," and I told him why, because of what I've just said. And his reaction was, he was horror struck that I thought that he couldn't love him. His perception of the whole thing had been that, yes, in the past I have tidied some things away that he's really wanted. It was a Monday morning. He knew that if he couldn't find his bus pass, his train pass, then he would have to queue up with all the long queues for the people buying their weekly tickets, which means he would miss his train, which means he would be late for work, and he had a really important meeting. And so he was really annoyed and really angry for that. He was so angry that it overwhelmed any sense of what I was doing. He just needed to get out the door as quickly as possible. And as actually what happened was he hadn't put his bus pass away, and it had slid under an envelope. We have a pile of envelopes, a post on the table in the hall, and that's where it had gone. And so we had a good old laugh about it. And hey, brilliant. And I just found myself thinking then that what could have happened if I had not spoken to him, what could have happened was I could have held, well, I would have held that feeling inside of me for, well, not days, not hours, not days, weeks, months even, of thinking to myself and going over and over and over that my husband couldn't possibly love me, and where would this end? And actually what I would have then done is I would have looked for evidence of that. Every time I perceived a situation, I would have perceived it as something that was demonstrating that he didn't really love me. And yet he does, and I know that, and the outcome was very different because I sought what his perception was of the situation, and I married the two together. And rather than just perceiving my side of things, which is my map of the world, it's the way I see the world, I also went, okay, what's his map of the world? How is he seeing things? And brought the two together to get a truth about the situation. And the clients earlier on this week, they didn't do that, and they based their actions and their eating on a perception that actually wasn't real. And so they could have made themselves feel a lot better about whatever the situation was that they were in. B, they could have stayed in control of their eating and not felt that they needed to soothe themselves or numb themselves in that way. And C, the outcome could have been very, very different. So that's why perceptions are linked to food.